Welcome to the podcast, Leading and Growing Your Real Estate Business by Coach James Short. This podcast is designed to help you with strategies, insights, and ways to increase sales, build and lead high-performing teams, and ultimately grow your business. Your host, James Short himself, also shares some of his secret sauces on how he helps his own clients achieve business growth quickly and easily. James has been coaching those in the real estate and property industry for close to 10 years now, and his clients keep on saying, since working with James, their results have been outstanding, giving them more money, time, and fulfillment. James is offering a free strategy call to those listening to see how he can assist you to take your business to where you want to go. Simply go to jamesshort.com.au/strategy and book in a time today. Now on with the show.
Hi, and welcome to another edition of Leading and Growing Your Real Estate Business. This is Coach James Short, and we are truly honored and privileged to have this next guest on our show today, Sam Panetta. Sam is the guru, the mover, and the shaker when it comes to finance, and particularly within the real estate world. He's a high-performance broker. He's a lovely family man. We've been chatting about his little one and how quickly she's grown over the last 10 months. He loves catching up with old mates, and he's a genuine great guy. So he's going to share with us some of the secret sources of what he's doing out there with a lot of his contacts in the real estate world, and really how to solve some of those problems out there, because there are some problems, but you know what? Sam's got some solutions. So let's bring him online. Sam, mate, welcome to the show.
That was the best introduction I've ever had, James. I've never had anything nicer things said about me my whole life.
Awesome, mate. Thank you. No, it's good
to be on.
Awesome, mate. Let's share it to the listeners a little bit about your journey. Obviously you're co-founder with RS Financial Group, which is an amazing group that's working with a lot of my clients to help them really take control of their finances, really plan out their finances, and help them to really grow their wealth strategy with a lot of your programs and services that you're offering. But share with the listeners the journey that of how you got to where you are today. What have been some of those milestones?
Yeah, so mate, my story is not typical from the day I was born. So my parents were 14 when I was conceived and 15 when they were born. When I was born, so super young. Life was different, I guess, from that very young age. Went to school, done all that, got kicked out at 15.
Wow.
So went and become a spray painter.
Okay.
So went and done an apprenticeship. Managed to save up some cash and actually bought my first property when I was 18, and fell in love with my mortgage broker at the time because I was an 18-year-old kid. I still had red P plates on my car, and I managed to get myself a nice little investment property. Always wanted to be involved in property and finance, but given the performance at school, it was probably not something that I was going to get into. When I was 24, 25, I decided, I'm getting out. So I got into finance. I worked with a firm in the city trading derivatives for bonds and bills. For people who are watching who don't know what they are, that's essentially the interest rate market. So that's what the banks use to price the interest rates for the rates that people are paying on their home loans and their car loans and all that sort of jazz. So learned a lot about interest rates. And then didn't enjoy that any longer because there was no client-facing stuff. There was no real-world difference. It was all just, me in the market.
Yep.
So a couple of years later, got out of that, got into mortgage broking with Yellow Brick Road. So that was where I started my career there. Essentially, I walked in there with my baggy suit and said, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm really keen to learn. Give me a go. Give me a shot. They gave me a shot. Phenomenal first year. Won young gun broker of the year with Yellow Brick Road. I got into the top brokers under 30. So it was just a fantastic introduction to the industry. Met my business partner Jackson Milan, which I'm sure you know very well, and launched Aureus Financial about 18 months ago now.
Wow, what an amazing journey! And you know what? I think hearing that journey, you don't know someone until you've heard some of those milestones, and you can really see how your tenacity, your approach, and and really your journey around the importance of being in front of clients, right? Back when you were trading, back when you were doing the derivatives, you knew that you wanted to be client facing. And that's your, I guess, we've had some great chats over the past, but that is one of your amazing strengths, is that connection, is that knowing, what's right for the person, knowing what's right for the timing, knowing what's right for their journey, and taking them along the way. And that's where obviously the success of RS Financial and your past successes is really going to show is based on your and obviously Jackson's strengths working together. So mate, well done. That's super exciting.
Thank you.
Mate, I want to talk about obviously where we're at within the financial world and particularly the real estate world. Obviously working with a lot of clients within the real estate space, and some of them are finding it quite challenging at the moment. They've got stock, they can't sell it, they're trying to get stock. They've got challenges with buyers and vendors with their finances and all that, everything like that. What's your take, and what are you hearing out there in the market in relations to the financial world?
It's an excellent question. So, my opinion on a broader level is that finance and property are one in the same. They go hand in hand. You can't have sort of one without the other.
Totally.
And when I started seeing the finance world tightening up, and this started actually 2 or 3 years ago, it actually took a little bit of time before that started to affect property markets, because the tightening was slow to begin with, and then it pulled back over time. And when that started happening, I thought this is really going to affect property markets, because I could see that clients wanted to borrow $1 million, could only get 900, and then those same clients 6 months later could only get 850. And I saw the borrowing power decrease for my clients, and I knew that had to have a direct impact on what someone could pay for property. And I think that has gone a long way to slowing down the Sydney and the Melbourne property markets, because that's where people were really maxing out on how much they were borrowing. And I'm seeing a lot of the local agents that I'm speaking to are mentioning that, are saying that they've got stock, they're trying to sell stock, and they've either got buyers that are interested that can't get the finance, or people are just not interested at all because they can't get the finance. So I think it's really having a massive effect all around.
So true. And I think you've hit the nail on the head, because it was, and so many agents didn't see it and pick it up. That slow shift and transition, and you can see a lot of exiting the industry because it's hands up there, white flags are up that they're gone, they're out. If you look at what do you then now see the next, I guess, 12, 18, 24 months look like? Do you feel that this is going to ease, change, or get better?
No, I think this is the new normal. I
Okay,
think this is
great.
the new normal. I can't see them pulling back on lending restrictions.
Yep.
I know that. Look, it would have to be. There's a couple of things. I don't think they're going to pull back the living expenses. I think that's here to stay from now on. They go through every single person's transaction history. If you say it costs you $2,000 to live and it costs you $3,622, it costs $3,622. And they'll actually get 3 months, divide that by 3, and say that's what it costs you to live. And that's having a big effect. Now, interest rates are tipped to go lower. So the interest rate markets are still predicting 3 more rate cuts before they stop moving again.
Yep.
So that's going to see interest rates keep going lower. And what people don't understand is that if you've got an interest rate today of 3.5%, it's being assessed somewhere between 7 and 8%. Right. So in every case, more than double. In some cases, nearly triple of what people are actually paying on their interest rate. Now, that's enforced at a higher level. That's enforced at a compliance level from government bodies and things like that. If they were to reduce to how it used to be in the past, the real interest rate plus a 2% buffer or something like that, that would instantly see borrowing capacities skyrocket again.
Yeah.
All right. So that is one area that I see that people can that there might be some sort of change, because the gap is just way too big now.
Yep.
The way that they assess existing investors who have portfolios, I don't think that's going to change. I think that's going to stay tough for the time being. I think interest rates are going to continue to be competitive. Lenders are really going to price each other out of the market. So existing borrowers, it's good for them. They're not going to suffer financially. It's funny because lending to SME business owners, right, is a huge growth point now. So if you've got people who are, let's use a real estate agent as an example, who's looking to acquire rent rolls or other practices, the lending to SME business owners, not for residential property but for business purposes, is actually loosening up and getting easier. And because the government sees SME as the next growth point over the next 10-year cycle. So it's getting easier and easier and easier for business owners to borrow for business purposes. So if you've got people who are doing well in their business, they've got the opportunity to grow, in turn lift profits and buy more property. And I think that's what's going to be the next big growth cycles, that people are going to start earning more and being able to borrow more that way.
Love it. So let's take the focus back to the real estate agent at the moment, and I want to, I guess, give them some secret sources, some of the strategies that you can assist with them. They're sitting on some stock. They've got some buyers, as you mentioned, but they're not getting finance. What would you recommend? How would you help with those agents? What the language would you be, or some strategies that you could share to help these agents move these stocks through the process, particularly when it comes to finances?
It's a very good question. So the lending environment at the moment is more complicated and convoluted than it's ever been. All right. So you might have one lender who says no and shuts the door on a borrower. You might have another lender that has certain policy niches where the door's wide open, here's the money. And if your clients or the buyers are going straight to their bank and their bank says no, so they say they can't get the money, then that's not the end of the story. There's 100 different lenders out there in the market. So real estate agents should be looking to team up with experienced brokers, really good brokers, not the average brokers, because they can't cut it anymore. The point of saying this is the best rate, take that deal, that's the market's changed. It's not that environment anymore. But if you've got someone who's experienced, who can dig around and who has access to little deals and little niches that other people don't, then they're going to be able to get the money. Do you know what I mean?
Gotcha.
And there's a lot of special rules and little special niches that are coming out now that the general public just has no idea about.
Yeah, there's too much information for someone who's not in the industry to actually know this information, right?
Absolutely.
And I think that's the really important aspect of gone are the days of an agent just flicking it on to a bank rep, flicking it on to someone with one silo of opportunity, compared to now, as you said, an expert that can open up numerous avenues, numerous opportunity. And I think agents out there really need to get smart and savvy around who they partner with. If you're looking at, if we're talking to an agent out there looking to partner up with, with a broker to work side by side, what are some of the things that you could recommend to the agent to be wary of, that they can make that right decision to get that right broker?
Well, it's a very good question. I would be asking the broker, what's the process that you go through? Is it strategic or is it random? Do you know what I mean? Is there a written process to finding the right solution, or are they just plucking an idea out of their head? And to provide some sort of case studies of, cases where they've been able to help a funder purchase property, a buyer fund the purchase of a property where the other bloke or the bank or someone else hasn't been able to do it. And I'm just have a whole bunch of scenarios running through my head now where I've been speaking to local agents and I've helped them fund the buyer. Do you know what I mean? To pass. There's a few square meters of a property. Do you know what I mean? There's the client's bank wouldn't do it. I knew a lender that would do it at those square meters. We went there. Another one where we had a nurse, and the nurse had 10 different types of income on a payslip. You ever see a nurse's payslip? There's so many different ways of the way they earn money. Now, some banks will take some at 100%, some at 60%, some at 80%. We found a lender takes them all at 180%, property she needed was 550. Everyone else could get a 500. We got a 550. Just these little bits and pieces like that. That unless you're really digging around and doing the research, the buy is just not going to happen. They're just not going to be able to get those little bits and bobs that they need.
And I think that's so true because, like, everyone's not a round peg fitting in a round hole nowadays. Everyone's got different circumstances, as you've already mentioned. Everyone's got different needs. Everyone's got different requirements. And I think with your experience and those brokers who've got that experience, we need to identify those different holes or plugs that we're trying to fill in to get the best outcome for the purchaser, to get the best outcome for the agent and so forth. I think you've hit the nail on the head in relations to share those case studies, share that process if they have one, so that agent feels confident in recommending, but also is that working together because I see it as a win-win-win, win for the purchaser, win for the agent, and win for the broker, all working together to buy their dream investment or buy their dream home or whatever it is for them. Are there any other case studies that you could share with us that you've been working with a couple of agents over the past little while that where they went down a different path and they got denied, and the way that you worked, the strategy that you worked at, it was a great outcome or great achievement?
I don't know if I can talk about if any clients couldn't get the funds before they come to see me. Typically, I don't know the scenarios of what's happened prior. Most of the time, by someone's come to see me, they couldn't get the funds elsewhere. But there's plenty of other examples that I can think of. If let's say you got a tradie, right, who owns a company and he's got 2 car leases in his company. Now, 95% of banks will service those car leases in his personal name. There's 2 or 3 that'll say that's a company debt, doesn't serve it. Let's not include it. You might take someone's purchase price from $800,000 to $1 million just by eliminating those couple of debts from servicing. Do you know what I mean? And we've got there's lenders out there for doctors, right? They can borrow up to 90% of a property price with no lender's mortgage insurance and servicing different, so not servicing by the standard rules. We had one the other day. The best we could get with another bank was 1.5 as a purchase price. We've got them up to 1.8. So it's a huge, monstrous, massive difference. And it's about fitting the client with the lender, not the other way around.
So true. Mate, there's some great insights, and I really appreciate, we've really got to look at particularly in this market, agents got to look at things differently. And I'm a big believer this year, it's about innovation, right? Otherwise you're going to perish. And it's looking at innovation is about your relationships. How do we build those relationships? Do we innovate so we can stay ahead of the game? And I think you've hit the nail on the head when it comes to choosing your right finance broker and to really get that high performance, nosy layout of the land, and to really match the lender and the person looking to get those funds to invest and to buy those properties. But how can the listeners, how can the tribe get in contact with you and to find out more? And how can those agents out there make contact and discuss further opportunities with you?
Yeah, perfect. You can Google Aureus Financial. Jump on there. Jump on the website. It's got all our details on it. You call me direct on the mobile, on my email. I'm not sure if we're going to have those.
Yeah, we'll have them up there.
Planted somewhere here. You can check us out on Facebook. We're really active on Facebook. They can join the Wealth Mentor community. So that's a little bit outside of finance itself, but it's just a bunch of handy sort of tips that we put out every now and again. And that's how they can get in touch.
Fantastic, mate. Sam, really appreciate your time, energy, and your experience and your expertise. Thank you for sharing some of those secret sources. And mate, once again, much appreciated.
Thanks, James. Appreciate it.